Welcome back to New Rockstars. Was Deadpool and Wolverine just fine? Was Wicked Part 1 really the best movie of the year? Or should Dune Part 2 really hold that title? Or did secretly Joker Folie à Deux surprise us all and steal it out from underneath us? This is a special episode of The Sneak Peek, and we are revisiting our picks for the most hyped movies for 2024 that we locked in last year, with some exceptions because there were some delays. And we're just kind of revisiting what we thought we'd be most excited about for 2024. Now, 1 year later, how excited did we end up feeling walking out of those movies?
I'm nervous.
I'm a little nervous too, but we have to do this.
I think it's smart.
We just have to revisit the way we felt. This is how we make our best picks for 2025.
Yeah. I just know what I don't remember. I came into this blind. I kind of don't want to remember what I put for my TVs, but I definitely know that I put Joker. Maybe as number one.
We have our picks from last year. And just to be clear to everyone, this is not like an end of year top 10 list of the best movies in our opinions of the year. There's like a lot of good movies that we saw this year that we weren't really just on our radar last year. This is more of like a hype assessment. You know, like a lot of the best movies we end up seeing, we don't even know are coming out at the start of a year. And then suddenly Conclave enters our lives from out of nowhere and blows our minds. We're not talking about Conclave in this podcast. This isn't like a typical movie reviewer critic podcast. We're just kind of revisiting our sense of hype and whether these movies lived up to the hype, really. I'm Erik Voss. I'm here with Jessica Clemons.
Yes, hello.
And we're sneaking a peek at our past peaks, our
goodness.
pick peaks. Okay, so let's go through what we picked as our top 5 movies of the year. Are you ready to do this?
Yeah. Are we going to go like one at a time, like start from 5 up, or are we going to start from like 1 down?
Let's start from the bottom of the list and work our way up, and we'll kind of alternate.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah, that's great.
So starting at the bottom of my list, at number 5, I actually ended up putting in later A24 Civil War. Initially, I had Inside Out 2, but I had Jordan Peele's next movie as my number 3. I had to take that out because we recorded it early before I went on paternity leave. So just talking quickly about A24 Civil War.
Yeah.
I was very hyped for this movie at the start of the year.
And I think hype was there for that movie. I think people were very interested, especially because it was that director. We were all very interested.
Yeah. I liked the movie when it came out. I think it pulled some punches and was a little confusing about like the exact nature of the politics of the world it was living in. And but I blame myself for that. I just think I'm overly plugged into the world of politics. So I was just like trying to game through these scenarios of in what world would Texas and California ever politically align on anything.
But I think that's a valid argument for this movie that was very politically driven. Like it's a movie that is literally like the synopsis is given is like, oh, this is going to be a political driven movie. And then it was more from the point of view of journalism. Yeah. Which I think people weren't expecting at all.
Yeah, but I ended up liking that through line of the film of like the political journalist story, the war photographer story, and the ethics of that. At what point are you inserting yourself in the story and really creating a story that didn't exist until you entered the scene?
Yeah.
Because I think when dystopia takes over, those ethical values are going to be more important than ever.
I think that's a great film for a movie, or a great idea for a movie. But when the trailers and when we're seeing these things kind of give way for just only political scheming, I'm like, oh, this is what we're going to expect. I feel like the trailer did not give what the movie was really about.
Yeah, I think it's interesting for any conversation around that movie to re-enter the discourse now, because in March 2024, in April 2024, our assumptions about the way the rest of the year would unfold are very different from the way they did. It was almost like political whiplash to where this movie entered the distant memory, and then we entered everything that happened in the election cycle, from the primaries to candidates dropping out to the debates to new conventions and all kinds of crazy shit that happened. It almost felt like every week was a new story. And then the November election, and now I think it's important to revisit that movie, just kind of look at what they were trying to tell us.
I guess, and this is just as a viewer of the movie, do you think it's as it definitely is important to kind of go back and review it, especially in the height of what we're going through. But was it really surprising? I feel like we've had this internal battle in America for so long that is it really that enticing with what's happening today? Does that make sense?
Enticing, no. And I think there are probably better movies that better speak to our world as it is right now. We talked about Zone of Interest recently, and I think that is a much better movie that I would recommend to people. I think that is maybe the best movie of the past 5 years.
I love Zone of Interest.
I think it's just an incredible experience. So, but in terms of hype, it's weird to feel hyped for this kind of movie, but I will say it met the hype for me.
I think as number 5, perfect spot. Perfect spot, because there was a lot of movies that we were expecting, and that one was one that everyone was, again, interested in that director. So 100%.
Your number 5 was...
Don't wait, what is it?
You're gonna feel good about it. Wicked.
No, that should have been number 1.
I know.
That should have been number 1.
But I have to give you credit because Wicked wasn't even on my top 5. And it should have been in my number 1 or 2 at least.
I think at the time I was nervous about how everyone was, how especially Universal was doing musical adaptations, but how everyone felt about musicals. So on a hype meter, I was like, I don't think as many people as I want are hyped about this movie. I think it's only people that have seen the stage show. Yeah. And I mean, still, right now with it coming out, most of the people that are seeing it are people that have seen the stage show. I think people seeing it this weekend, or this comes out on Sunday.
Yeah, so it's out in the world now. People are watching it.
So people seeing it the following weekend are people that are just going because of the reviews are coming in. The audience score is like really high, so I think people are now going to be like, oh, I should go give this a gander.
When Jessica and I are recording this, she and I saw it last night, and... very excited audience there, and I think we're just seeing the tip of the iceberg
100.
Of the momentum of this film, and I think it's going to be one of the biggest. It's going to break records for certain categories. I think it's going to break holiday records. It's going to be a big film. It's going to be the Barbie of this year.
I think it's going to be a really good Barbie.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a Barbie movie. I also think it's, again, and I didn't think about this hard, but I am like, it is a really good, I think, is it the best musical adaptation movie?
Well, if you consider most movie musicals now are adaptations of the stage show. I don't know. I'm trying really hard to think.
It's too soon
for me to say.
I'm trying to think I'm trying to think of just like, give me one that's not Cats.
Spielberg's West Side Story.
Because the adaptation was not. I think it was beautiful. The old one. You think the new one?
The 1961 adaptation, I think, also won Best Picture.
Yeah.
An incredible classic film that improves upon the stage show based off of what I know of Arthur Laurent's script. It makes some amazing visual choices. I think Spielberg made one that is of equal quality. Like that movie just came and went for whatever reason, and I think it was like it deserved to be in the Oscar.
I think it was
conversation. It was just Ansel Elgort. I think sunk it.
I think he sunk it, and it's unfortunate to say it. I think that negative did play a part in why it's not better than Wicked for me. Because choreography wise, it was very sloppy. Even
you think West Side was sloppy?
Because Ansel Elgort added to it. Every scene he's dancing in with Mike Fast is like, because that guy's an actor or like Broadway actor, has been dancing his entire life, and then Ansel Elgort's in there. It's kind of doing this, and I hate that he's in front center of the screen at all times doing it.
Yeah, I think for some people the Rachel Zegler of it affects it too.
Do people not like the Rachel Zegler movie?
I was okay with it. I think this movie is near flawless. I think it's as good as Spielberg's best work, and just like the visual shot composition. I think the choreography is really cool. I think Officer Krupke, I think Cool is really well done. And to me, I think. If we depends how far back we go, but I think Chicago 2002 is the best of this century. I think Dreamgirls was incredible.
Oh, thank you. See, that's why I was like, I need someone to kind of keep reminding me, because I keep going to Universal Pictures and I'm like, Cats was horrible. Yes, 100%. They learned with Wicked though, and I'm like, good on you for flipping. But Dreamgirls is one of my favorite adaptations in the entire universe.
Dreamgirls is so good.
Dreamgirls is so good. Okay, sorry, but
so that was your number 5, and go watch our Break Room review that came up on the Break Room channel this weekend, where Jessica and I go into our deeper thoughts with John and with Evan, talking all about our thoughts on Wicked Part 1. It's a fascinating movie, and our Easter egg breakdown of Wicked Part 1 will be coming to the new Rockstars channel tomorrow, Monday. All right, so my number 4 was Inside Out 2. And I think it deserves to be in the top 5. I mean, that movie broke animation records, and an incredible film. And it's interesting because when we recorded this, I had such like interesting expectations of this movie, knowing what I knew about it from Kelly working on it, but didn't know a lot of what would happen. And then a couple months later, I got to see a sneak peek of the movie on the Pixar campus, and I got an insight into everything that went into it. And then when I saw the movie, mixed feelings about like Pixar as a studio at that point. Don't need to get into it, but I was like, I just knew the amount of effort that went into this that was just really not properly recognized for the people who worked on it, in my opinion. But now, I mean, I just keep thinking about what they established about anxiety in that movie. Totally met the hype, surpassed the hype. If anything, it should be higher on the list, I think.
I want to believe that it is the hype. I think we were all talking about it. It's Inside Out too, so it's like, yeah, we were talking about it as the next Pixar movie coming out. I think once it dropped, it kind of went. It just like kind of went. Because I remember, I don't think I even saw it in theaters. I saw it on an airplane. And I remember being like, I don't think a lot of people are talking about it right now.
But it dominated the summer. I think we forget, but like by Labor Day, everybody had seen that movie. It's the highest grossing Pixar movie, highest grossing animated movie ever. More than the Toy Story.
It's insane because I was like, I love animation, but I didn't hear shit about it. But I think maybe that's just my neck of the woods. I was like, yeah, not many people are talking about it, but I did hear about what happened with Pixar. And maybe that might have played to it. But I'm also like, I was like, yeah, not a lot of people. I didn't even see like a lot of people covering it, which I wanted to see more of. But I think the hype was there. I think the hype was there because it's a Pixar film. Hype is always gonna be there for Pixar.
Yeah, I think it met the hype. I was very happy with that. Your number 4 was Beetlejuice.
I think the hype. Was the hype there?
But like, did the movie's quality deliver on the hype you felt for it?
Yeah. Yeah. I wasn't expecting much though. That was me. That was personally me. I was like, I'm not expecting too much. I'm very excited for this, but I wasn't expecting that much. And then after seeing it, I was like, I loved how campy this was. And I think that was what a lot of other people liked about it. I do think afterward, it was more hyped afterwards than it was leading up to it. I think people were actually surprised at how much they liked it.
Okay.
But I don't think it was.
That's a movie that came and went.
Yeah.
You talked about it, and I saw a couple other people talking about it, and then 2 weeks later, no one was talking about that movie. I think I agree with that, but I think when it just dropped, because I was surprised at how many people were talking. They were like, I like this more than the first one. I was like, that's weird. I was like, I don't agree with that. But yeah, I don't think it was that hype. Yeah. My number 3 pick was Furiosa, and this is one that probably needed to not be on my list.
I think there was hype for it.
There was a lot of hype, but what I'm saying is the quality of the movie did not meet the hype. Or maybe it perfectly matched the hype, because I was very hyped for it, other people not that hyped, and then the movie was just fine. It felt like George Miller didn't have any of the economical storytelling that he had for the first Mad Max Fury Road. This felt like almost an unnecessary prequel that was very long, but had some incredible sequences and just didn't have that kind of raw stunt choreography that the entire Mad Max Fury Road had. Now within Furiosa, there was like one really great sequence, but just really one really good sequence. And then a bunch of other stuff that happened around it.
Yeah, I still think the hype was there though. At least
but
it just
again,
didn't fulfill.
I just want to make it clear the
yeah.
like hype versus what you get.
Yeah,
and we're talking now about what we got.
Yeah, and I guess we didn't get anything.
And was anyone talking about Furiosa during the summer?
No,
I don't think so.
Well, I think it took too long to come out. Personally,
maybe. Yeah,
I was like, because I was
years,
like, I don't really have a. And I think didn't it come out around other things? So I was like, I'd rather go see the other things.
It had May all to itself. Basically, that was like the big May release.
Was there a weird, lowly horror movie that came out around the same time? I feel like I went and saw probably something else. Because I genuinely do think I went to the theater, saw Furiosa on the screen, and was like, oh. And I went to another theater.
Yeah. Thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring this video. The holidays are a time for family to come together, and depending on your family dynamic, that could dredge up some stuff that you might need help processing. Therapy can help with that. And if you need help getting started with therapy, BetterHelp is here to help. BetterHelp is on a mission to make starting therapy easier. It's a platform where therapists and their clients can communicate effectively so you can get the most out of therapy. They carefully make sure their therapists on the platform are well qualified, and their customer support team is there to help you if you have any questions. needs. Just fill out a questionnaire and you will match with a therapist in as little as a couple days. If the first therapist doesn't feel like the right fit, you can easily switch to another one until you find someone you really connect with. BetterHelp also provides a journal for personal reflection, plus group sessions on a variety of topics are available every day. Users love BetterHelp. They have over 7,000 reviews and a 4.5 rating on Trustpilot. If you are struggling and you think you'd benefit from a therapy session, click the link in the description or go to betterhelp.com/newrockstars and get 10% off your first month of therapy. Your number 3 was Deadpool and Wolverine.
Oh my God. Why did I put that? Okay. First off, I will say I put these probably on personal hype meters. If I did this on a crowd hype meter, that should have been number 1.
Yes. So my Deadpool and Wolverine was at number 2. So let's talk about it here. Obviously, the whole world was hyped for this movie. The movie came out. It did very well for Marvel and for Disney. It did very well for New Rockstars. Our breakdown of it, I think, was our most successful just in terms of watch time ever for the New Rockstars channel. It was very fun to watch that movie. We watched it together with John. We had a great time. It was very funny. Now, we're a few months removed from it. How good of a movie was Deadpool and Wolverine?
And what level are you asking?
Just like quality in terms of a Marvel superhero movie that makes that you're impressed by the story, by the setups, by the payoffs, by the journey the hero goes on. Is it a movie that stays with you? Is it a movie that if it were re-released in theaters right now, would you go buy a ticket for it?
I would go see it again for the atmosphere. It's very fun. I think does it hold the expectations for a Marvel movie? Absolutely. Do I think it has the best story? Absolutely not. That's why I was like, two different things, because I'm like, I think I don't expect that much and I'm in the most respectful way for a Marvel movie nowadays. I'm like, oh yeah, they're just kind of going, and I think it followed the same suit of what a lot of them have been doing recently. So I was like, yeah, it's just this arc. But I had a blast watching it, and for the atmosphere of watching it again, I would absolutely buy another ticket to watch it in the theaters.
I would rewatch it on Disney Plus. In fact, I have. We recently just did a breakdown of it and found a whole bunch of new stuff. And I do like going back through it. There's a lot of really funny, really just well shot sequences, but a lot of it is based off of the whoa, this guy's here. Yeah. And then the whoa, this guy's here stuff doesn't always hold up on a rewatch. And the first Deadpool from 2016, I think really does hold up on a rewatch, because every time you watch it, you discover new things about like, wow, they were really smart about how they structured it. Here it almost feels like, oh, you start to see like, is this really, does the planes, trains, and automobiles stuff that Ryan Reynolds claimed he cared about so much come through as much? Like, you have to really pay attention to those Easter eggs. But so much of the movie is just Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds insulting each other. But it only feels like it cuts deep when they're in the car together. Otherwise, it's almost surface level and meta and silly. And I almost would have loved to see Ryan Reynolds' original version of this that would have been not in the void, but in development hell. Because I don't know if Ryan Reynolds truly had a grasp on the void as it was established, and the TVA as it was established in the Loki series. It feels like that didn't excite him that much.
Yeah, I can see that.
And Kevin Feige just kind of made him go that route.
I see that. I completely see that.
So that's the only thing that I feel like. I feel like there is a truer version of a Deadpool and Wolverine team-up movie that we could have had that maybe was there in the Huey Lewis and the News montage in the first act. To me, I'm like, that is what I wanted from Deadpool and Wolverine, and I almost would have loved if Deadpool had just stayed in the John Byrne universe with the brown version of the suit with Hulk. And I'm like, mate, what if the movie had just stayed in that universe, or stayed with Old Man Logan, or stayed in Age of Apocalypse? Like, doesn't it feel like there could have been a more interesting thread to pull than what we got?
100%. I agree.
Yeah, but still, an all-time banger of a movie.
Yeah.
It made, I mean, the fact that still now people are playing that children's choir version of Like a Prayer and Bye 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 is now important again. Like, I think that says something about the movie's lasting legacy.
That's why I was like, I would absolutely watch it in theaters again. It's very fun in a theater setting.
And I think we all just needed Marvel Studios to have a win again. And Marvel Studios got their win with Deadpool and Wolverine. It kind of reminded us that like Marvel Studios can still produce a movie that like have to go see in theaters with all your friends. That is just a good time. Yeah. And that's all 100%. We really wanted out of Deadpool and Wolverine, and that's what we got.
Yeah, 100%.
So let's talk about your number 2 and what was my number 1, Dune Part 2.
Oh, I was hyped for Dune Part 2. And I loved Dune Part 2. But I think I'm biased at this point. I realize like I will never not like Dune. Is that I don't get to review Dune. Like I will always be for Dune and the spice. I'm like Zach Huddleston. But yeah, I think the hype was there and we talked about it, but I don't think we talked about it long. I think we made fun of it more. So those memes are still going today.
Yeah.
Today.
Listen, I think this movie, best, most important movie of the year.
I love it.
And it's maybe sacrilege to say when Wicked is in theaters right now. And again, jury's still out. We'll see if Wicked steals the thunder from Dune Part 2. But in my opinion, Dune Part 2 was the movie of the year. It should be nominated for Best Picture. It should win Best Picture. Villeneuve should win for Best Director. I think it is the biggest cinematic achievement that we saw on screens this year. And I know Conclave came out. And I know The Substance came out, and I know all these other great movies have come out. But I'm just, and the Timothée Chalamet movie, the Bob Dylan movie.
Oh yeah,
is also, making waves. But I just think this should be Villeneuve's year. Villeneuve made his Oppenheimer. Give him all the gold.
This was his Oppenheimer.
I'm with Josh Brolin. If he doesn't get nominated, we're all just gonna walk out into the desert.
Sorry.
We're gonna walk out into the desert and we're gonna collapse in the heat and let the worms swallow us.
In supporting actor?
Oh, no. He's talking about Villeneuve should be nominated for director.
Oh, I was like, I don't think he's going to be nominated compared to other people that have acted.
Brolin didn't earn it for this movie.
I think there's other people that would be nominated for supporting actor before him in that movie.
Oh, yeah. Who do we think? Should he get it for this? He's already won for other things.
No, he's not going to get it for this, but God, I would love it. His character was a little too silly.
Chalamet will get the nomination for the Bob Dylan role
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I don't think he'll get it for Dune, though.
They love biopics, so they're going to
Zendaya get nominated? I think she should be.
Wasn't it other than Challengers, wasn't she in another movie separately, or am I? Because I thought she was gonna get nominated for the other movie.
I mean, this is gonna be a big Zendaya year between this and Challengers. Challengers is also one that
I think it's just gonna get writing, not adapted, but original. I think it's just gonna be nominated for original.
For adapted screenplay because it's based off of Villeneuve's or from Herbert's novel, Part 2. I think it'll be nominated for all the technical categories.
I meant Challengers.
Oh, Challengers. I don't know if I think Challengers might be adapted.
Is it adapted? I thought that guy wrote that because I read his script on the Blacklist and it was crazy. It was like an insane. We don't know. Either way, I think it's gonna be nominated for writing, but no, for Dune 2, it better get everything.
Should Challengers be nominated for cinematography just for the bee that clung to the tennis ball as it ping ponged back across?
Dune better be nominated for a bunch of shit. Oh God, they're gonna sleep on it.
To me, the hype is still there just from the Lisa Lagalib, and right now the fact that Dune Prophecy is out and I'm really digging it.
And people like it.
People are talking about it, and Villeneuve felt the hype so much after that movie that he's like, whatever else I was working on, we're going back to the Dune verse, and we are doing Dune Messiah. That's gonna be his next movie. Like that. He accomplished something huge, and he made people care about this pretty dense sci-fi epic that George Lucas liked so much, but even considered unadaptable, so much so that he just ripped everything off and turned it into Star Wars. And we got Star Wars out of it. No, even when society in the 70s are like, no, we can't do Dune. Dune's not enough for us. Jodorowsky struggled with it. David Lynch tried his version of it. Sci-Fi did their series of it, and no one could quite crack it. Villeneuve is like, it can be done, and it will be done. Let the spice flow. And he made the spice flow.
I'm in that spice, dude. I love Dune.
No, none of us would be talking about spice if not
That's true. I mean, Star Wars.
Star Wars version of spice.
Their version of spice.
But no one would be quoting this
I wouldn't be saying, let the spice flow. I also would not be saying, listen,
it took it so seriously. It had proper respect for the source material, but also a proper understanding, a critical analysis that Villeneuve brought to that source material.
I'm glad we can agree on Dune 2.
But can we agree on Joker Folie à Deux? No. Which is your number one most hyped movie.
This is how I know that this list I made was for my own hype. This is how I know it was made for my own hype. Because I was very hyped on this movie because it's Lady Gaga, and I was like, I love musicals, and I'm very excited to see this play out. I think Joaquin Phoenix was at least nominated for Walk the Line. So I was like, oh yeah, he's fine doing music. She's great at music. I'm very excited to see this in a universe that I really love.
What happened, Jess?
I don't know. I can't even tell you. Rushness, the poor planning, poor idea, poor everything.
The movie came and went like a wet fart that you don't hear and you think is a shart. I didn't phrase that well. obviously.
Well, the movie also didn't.
But that's kind of what the movie did, is it started a sentence and didn't know how to finish it. I think it makes sense. Someone at Warner Brothers like, what? Look, 2019 Todd Phillips Joker won Oscars. It made $1 billion. Of course we're going to follow this up. But it just shows that the studio just learned all the wrong lessons from how to build a franchise from what was happening in Hollywood in 2019. A lot of movies got $1 billion in 2019 that probably shouldn't have. But they just did because people had Movie Pass, because movies were easier to go to back then. It was just a different time. And I think someone needed to be the adult in the room and just say, like,
No.
does this movie need a sequel? And does it need to be this musical that's, you know, not marketed as a musical and not really a musical, has one original song, but then just like the two leads karaokeing over and over again songs that aren't really thematically connected.
The fact that no one knew it wasn't even original music until they saw the movie is insane to me.
Yeah.
The fact that they hit it that much. I was like, I thought it was new songs. She's coming out with an album. I'm here about it. And then everyone's like, no, it's all music from that we've already heard.
Yeah, I think the fact that Wicked is doing so well shows us that audiences are here to see musicals.
They're here.
There have been a lot of musicals that haven't done that great, but like Wicked is one of the all-time most successful Broadway shows. If you just write original music, which it wasn't for the Wicked movie, but Stephen Schwartz wrote original songs that are hits, and there's a lot of musicals that fit that category, including Hamilton. If they ever want to do a Hamilton movie beyond just the Disney Plus stage recording, just the numbers based off of that will show you that people will turn up for a Hamilton movie.
Yeah, I think with Joker, they did not, everybody that was working on that team did not understand musicals, period.
I think Todd Phillips probably grew up really appreciating the Fred Astaire movies, and someone working on that was like, hey, Chicago was a really successful film in 2002, and it's a legal drama in the version of a magical realism musical, and they half committed to that with Joker. But again, it does not need to be a Joker story.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be a Joker story, but I'm like, and like, you can like that, but I don't think you understand the, like, not even art, but the heart that is in a musical by using just not even the original songs, or just creating, like, make something that's different and make it yourself versus what this is. And I don't think he did it. And I regret putting it as my number one.
Hey, but you know what? I was really excited too. I remember in our show last year, I was like, it could be the Barbie of fall 2024, and how wrong I was. Really, Wicked's gonna be the Barbie of this year.
Wicked is, yeah.
And Wicked wasn't on my list at all. Let's talk about a few other movies that weren't on either of our lists. And in some cases, I think justified. The Planet of the Apes movie.
Oh yeah, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
Fine, but
fine.
The Godzilla X Kong.
Yeah.
A Quiet Place, Day One.
Oh yeah.
Not on either of our lists.
Did we know it was coming out?
We did, but we just
Okay.
weren't really thinking about it, so we weren't hyped for it. Pretty good movie.
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah. A movie that was not on my list at all, and I finally just watched last weekend, Twisters, and I very much enjoyed it. And it's a
good for
flawed
you.
movie, a flawed movie that deprives us of a much needed kiss in the airport. But you know what? I was won over. I was very smitten with
glad.
this movie. The way it begins, I literally stood up off the couch and started pacing the room, and I was like, Kelly, how could they open a movie this way? This is horrifying.
With everybody being killed immediately.
It was awful.
Well, that's how the first one starts. Remember, the
Not
dad gets ripped out of the
just the
cellar.
dad.
But it's still.
The dog lives. Stop funny. Why are we laughing?
No, but it's horrible to like be a child, watch your dad get ripped away by a
I
tornado
know.
in the cellar.
You could tell that like Amblin and Spielberg at least got to look at the script, because he's like, you really got to make them feel it.
Yeah,
if you
kill
feel
all
it,
those kids.
chase it. God, I think that movie. I don't know. I feel like I saw like it made Glenn have a big year.
No, yeah, it was I think that's one of the like big stepping stones for Glenn. I'm so happy
He
who
should have
is.
been Sexiest Man Alive. It was his year.
Didn't
This
he already?
was the
Wasn't
year-
he already won or nominated before?
I don't know. He was in 3 huge movies this
Yeah.
year. And I think if any one of them, if Twisters blew up to be like a movie that made $500 million
he would have won.
Yeah,
but I think also we all know he's fine.
And he'll come back.
It's fine.
He's young.
Next year he'll look exactly the same. The year after that,
he's
will
taken
still
the
be good.
substance years ago. Basically, like Clint Eastwood took the substance a few years ago, and then now we got this guy.
Who the hell is this guy?
Yeah. So. I'm trying to think if there's like other movies that. Oh, so I watched Long Legs. I remember seeing a trailer for it early or late 2023. I really liked Long Legs. There's some other horror movies that Smile 2. I don't think there's any other movies that came. It was like overall not like. I mean, Wicked I think is going to get the final say of like box office in 20. Now we have not yet seen Moana 2. We haven't seen Craven. We haven't seen Joe Mufasa, and we haven't seen Sonic 3 or Gladiator 2. But I just don't know if any of those movies are going to be the standout movies of the holiday season.
I also think those movies have their a general audience for themselves. Like Dune, I feel like everybody's watching, but like Sonic 3 is for like the Sonic people.
The one movie we have not talked about, but a lot of people say is the best animated movie of this year is The Wild Robot.
Easy. That one's, it's crazy that it's going to win.
You think it's going to beat Inside Out 2 for best animated?
I think every now and then Pixar does get beat, but this one, it crazy curveball out of nowhere. I think Wild Robot came out of nowhere.
It really did.
It was like 1 week before it came out, I started getting press online about it. I started seeing about it, and I was like, oh yeah, this movie. And then everyone was like, if you have children, you're going to bawl your eyes out. And I was like, I'm going to go see it. And I don't have children, and I bawled my eyes out. But it's also beautiful. It's beautiful, and it has like that star-studded cast.
We're going to just quickly check in on our TV picks just to kind of show you. And I'll just read from top to bottom.
Top to bottom, number one?
From my 5 to 1. Oh. So for me, I said at number 5, I added The Penguin, which is a correction after originally I put Andor Season 2 at number 1. That didn't come out in 2024, so I slid everything up. So The Penguin I put at number 5. Good. Number 4, X-Men 97. Number 3, The Acolyte. Number 2, House of the Dragon Season 2. And number 1, Agatha All Along.
You were right on all of those except for maybe 1.
Well, you said for number 5, Stranger Things, which didn't come out. But Arcane Season 2, your number 4 pick. House of the Dragon Season 2, your number 3. And number 2, you put Echo.
Okay, this is personal hype meter. I know damn well this is a personal hype meter now.
And the number 1, you had The Boys, Season 4. So I think just talking about our number 1 picks, Agatha All Along, I think looking back, it delivered. I thought it was really good, but I think I would have to put The Penguin at number 1. I think The Penguin was a better show than Agatha All Along.
100%.
I loved Agatha, but Penguin was better.
Crazy. Was hype there before? I think hype was.
There was no hype, and I think that's why. But like, it should have been more hyped. I don't know what they could have done differently to hype it differently, but it was a better show.
Personally, I wasn't that like whoa from the trailer. I was just like, yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a gangster film or gangster show, kind of like Sopranos. That's cool. After watching it, I went, give me more of this. Yeah. It was so unexpected for me. Like, I wasn't expecting the worst, but I wasn't expecting what I got, and I was like, damn.
The fact that Agatha All Along and The Penguin, I think culturally will be equal in terms of how much people talk about them. Just says something about the quality of Penguin because it didn't have the whole Marvel machine behind it. It really, like, even HBO didn't quite know how to promote it. But it just on the strength of its cast and its writing, it got there.
Yeah.
And these other shows, X-Men 97 deserved to be on the list. It delivered. Acolyte, House of the Dragon.
You don't think House of the Dragon?
House of the Dragon was fine. It was just a mixed bag in season 2. I thought it really high highs and then just some odd moments in between. The Acolyte. I just am so frustrated about the conversation around the Acolyte that, like, if you don't echo the toxic talking points of some people online, they assume that you are a shill. But I can allow me to just say it was not a very good show, but I don't agree with the reasons you think it's not a good show. All right?
Fine.
So let's just put it to bed there. I think it's okay that it did not get renewed for a second season. I don't think it deserved a second season just based off of the mixed bag of storytelling on the show. But the fact that you're willing to say horrible things about Leslie Headland to make your point, I think it's just awful. It's just stupid. And I'm not going to agree with you on that regard. So let's stop talking about the Acolyte now. You have on your list.
I got a wild ass bag. I think only the one is The Boys.
Yeah,
I think
The
that's
Boys
The Boys.
delivered.
The Boys delivered. People talk like The Boys. Even Amazon has their like Amazon Studios has their like fan base of people that watch like The Boys and Invincible and those shows. And I was like, yeah, those people showed out for The Boys. They were going crazy for The Boys. And I was like, yeah, I think it lived up to the hype. It's still as violent as everyone thinks it is.
Yeah.
Echo did not. But again, that's why I know that this list was for myself. I wasn't thinking about anyone else when I was making this list. When I was making, I put it above House of the Dragon.
Yeah, and you didn't even include Agatha on your list.
That's crazy. I
don't know, but you gave an honorable mention.
And that's why I'm also crazy.
Yeah.
That's why I'm confused at what I was doing last year. I might have been, drunk, I guess. But like Stranger Things, I was like, I complain about Stranger Things all the time. Well, maybe I'm hyped because I want one of the kids to die, which is true. I'm very excited to see which one they choose, and it's gonna be Dustin.
They're gonna kill Will.
I think it's gonna be no one. That's the problem. No one cares about Will, so you can kill him, and we're not gonna care. But you got to kill Dustin, and then we're gonna care.
Well, we'll see.
Let's put money down.
Right now.
We're gonna do bets right now, you guys. Who wants to put money on this?
We neither of us had Shogun on our list, but I think Shogun was the best show of the year.
Yes.
I haven't seen all the episodes of Dune Prophecy yet, but I feel pretty good saying that Shogun was the best show that came out in 2024.
It was also. I don't think we got anything about it, right? We weren't watching trailers.
Yeah,
it just was like.
I think it had been announced, but I just didn't see it coming. And when it did, I was like, this rocks. This show is awesome. We were, I think, internally pretty hyped for The Bear season 3, but didn't make our top 5 lists. And I think what we ended up getting for The Bear season 3, it didn't deserve to be up there.
Damn.
They should have.
Damn.
They split that into 2 halves, and I don't know why they did that. There's a lot of issues with.
I've only heard like those same complaints about The Bear season 3.
Yeah, but The Bear is so good. We will do a separate episode in the future about our hype for the TV/streaming and the movies of 2025. But since we have now seen all of these shows that we wanted to talk about, we just wanted to assess them here to clock in. And I think we were right overall with our movies. I think
movies make sense.
Dune being in there, Deadpool being in there.
Maybe we didn't
Wicked,
know.
you getting Wicked.
Yeah. I think but the movies I feel like are easier than the TV shows. Does that make sense? Like
Yeah.
I feel like not playing devil's advocate for my choices, but I'm like maybe I didn't know what shows were coming, or maybe I just wasn't as hyped for the TV shows that were coming in 2024.
I think the hype was really a reflection of like what came before this movie and what we most needed a year ago. And I think for me, I needed just quality Villeneuve sci-fi. You needed just a good Lady Gaga, Joaquin Phoenix.
I just wanted a good musical. I love musicals.
And you got it with Wicked.
Yeah, I did.
So we got there one way or another. All right, so coming up on the new Rockstars channel, we talked a bit about it, our Easter egg breakdown of Wicked. Really fun video coming to the channel tomorrow. We are in the midst of our Harry Potter rewatch series, Prisoner of Azkaban. My favorite film of the series, Easter egg breakdown, is currently on the channel. Came out yesterday. And then be sure to tune into the Break Room channel on Tuesday. Gina and I are going to be taking your questions live, talking about how we worked on that. We're going behind the breakdown once again. And then also on the channel this week, we have I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, it is like Thanksgiving week. So we're going to take Thanksgiving off. But we will also be working on our breakdown of Moana 2. That will be coming out the following week. And the following week, we'll see Skeleton Crew and some other interesting things that New Rockstars will be covering. So be sure to subscribe to all 3 channels in the New Rockstars network, even the Deep Dive, where nothing's been coming out over there. But I've been working on Tenet, but the thing is I'll have started Tenet in May of 2025, and it will come out 2 weeks ago. That's not a very good joke, but Tenet requires you to think too much to understand humor.
Yeah, maybe you don't understand because you don't understand Tenet.
Yep. Let's end with what we're watching.
What we're watching.
We've been talking a bit about what we're watching outside of the normal stuff for New Rockstars, but is there anything in particular?
I watched all of this new Hulu series called Rivals. That is, I think in America you only find it on Disney Plus, which is insane because it's like the British version of what they want to be the British version of Mad Men. It's like, imagine BBC, but for Mad Men, and it's British, and it takes place in the 80s, and it stars David Tennant and a bunch of other phenomenal actors. The guy from The Boys that plays Translucent is in it.
Oh, fun.
He's naked 90% of the show.
That guy likes to strip down.
Okay, I was like, this man just likes taking off his clothes, which, go off. If you want to show it, do it. But I was like, every time I see you, it's always your dongs out, dude. But that show is a very wild show. If you're just like down bad, you can watch that show. If I don't, because it's such a crazy show. It's written kind of weird, but I watched it in one day because I wanted to figure out how it all ends, and it ends on a crazy note. So
yeah. If
you also want to see David Tennant just cuss up a storm, whoo, go watch it.
I'll check that out.
No, don't.
I'm watching it.
No,
tonight.
I don't want Kelly to have to see it.
Well, Kelly and I have been going back through the seasons of Survivor.
Yeah.
Because John Costa is a nonstop Survivor head here at New Rockstars. And he's like, no one else watches Survivor. And I'm like, you know what? I need to go back through those seasons just to kind of relive the slop. And I had watched up through season 9, and then I just took a break. My viewing schedule changed. I can't remember why. Maybe high school IB program. I just didn't have time to watch all the TV shows I want to watch anymore. But we just finished season 2, Outback season, and there's no stakes. But they do. Season 1 is just they're just figuring it out as they go, and there's a charm in that. Season 2. Everyone gets like mean. Like the people who win do not deserve to win. I think Tina and Colby, I hated them while watching this show. And I remember liking Tina and Colby when I was in middle school, but they are just awful to the other people on the tribe. And they just like, when they kicked out Kel and they just listened to Jerry when she's like, I saw him eat jerky without any proof. And then she went through his bag. Thank God Tina during the final tribal council apologized for that. But like, no one apologized to Kel at the time. I'm still mad. I'm obviously worked up about Survivor Outback. Like, people were just mean that season, and not like in a tactical way. And Colby only got that far because he kept winning immunity challenges, and you can see the producers figure it out. Like, if there's one strong player, if every reward challenge is just food and everyone else is starving, he's gonna dominate. Yeah. And that's what Colby did. And I think they fixed that in Africa and Marquesas and Thailand and everything that comes after, if I remember correctly.
I love that it kind of works like that episode of 30 Rock where they had the gold rush, and in the blocks, and they're like, oh, this isn't gonna work. They can't hold it up. I'm like, that's how they kind of think of Survivor. They're like, oh, the strongest person keeps winning the food.
Yeah. Well, I think what happens is like future seasons look at whoever the strongest guy is and vote them out fast.
Yeah, honestly.
Because they're like, we can't have a Colby this season.
Honestly,
get him out.
I would rather go against people that are just tactical and smart than like the strongest person. I'm like, because I'm never going to win against a challenge that involves like stamina or whatever against that person. Yeah. So vote them out. It just sucks because nowadays everyone's strong on it. Every single person has ran like a 25K marathon. And I'm like, whoa, no.
Yeah. And I just remember Survivor Outback, how deceptive, like, CBS should have gotten an FCC violation for that promo where they're like, next time on Survivor, when disaster strikes and someone needs to be airlifted for a medical evac, and they just showed an alligator or crocodile slipping into the water, and everyone thought that someone was going to get eaten by a crocodile because the previous episode, one of the tribes people was like, I don't want to go swimming in that water. There's crocodiles there. So I remember everyone at school being like, one of them's going to get eaten by a crocodile. And we watched that promo again, and it's the funniest, most deceptive promo. We're going to see people thrashing around in the water. It was just Mike burning his hands. Serious burns, though. It's a bummer, because that guy would have won. He was by far the worthiest Mike. That guy, he was like an outdoorsman, and he was carrying that tribe. They were all really good, but
they voted him out.
They were dominating the first half of the season, and when that guy got voted out, that is one of the it's like that, the 2016 election and 9/11 and Mike burning his hands on Survivor is where we went on a different timeline.
We needed someone, butterfly effect, go back in time, make sure that guy never burns his hands.
Yeah, the world would have been different.
How did he burn his hands? He just picked up something.
He was blowing into a fire and inhaled the smoke and ash, and he passed out into the fire.
What?
Yeah. It's really, and he got third-degree burns on his hands. It was really bad.
That is a very early season thing to do because they would not let that shit happen.
No. You know, all the people on that have to take like fire safety classes.
That's
they got
insane.
fire marshals nearby.
They just watched him on a camera.
There was a very interesting conversation when that happened over the ethics of the camera crew, and they're like, "We are documenting this."
They're not animals. That's humans.
Well, we also don't know.
Well, okay.
I think they may have. It happened really fast, and they might not have had the camera on him right away. We don't really know.
That's insane. That is a crazy thing to allow to happen.
Yeah.
Woo,
baby. All right. Well, that's it for this episode of The Sneak Peek. Again, subscribe to all 3 channels of the New Rockstars Network. Big thanks to Jessica Clemons. Follow her at Lulu Clemons.
Lulu Clemons or Lulu. I can't stop thinking about what they did on Survivor now.
You're going to think about it all week?
He inhaled the smoke and passed out in the fire.
It's crazy. It's a crazy show. And make sure to check out our merch store, nerdriot.shop. It's the best way to support what we're doing here at New Rockstars. Jessica and I both rocking some merch. I got this one that no one else wants, but you got the cool red Hulk, green Hulk.
Isn't it kind of new?
This is our new design in Christmas colors. It's a great holiday gift. Grab one of these, nerdriot.shop. Thanks for watching. Everyone take care of yourselves out there, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Don't inhale smoke.